Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel and welcome to an incredibly special video, and I think my very first video covering Planet Coaster 2. Last week I was actually very lucky to get to play the game, and thank you so much to Frontier for allowing me the opportunity to get hands-on, dive in, and get to see a very early version of what Planet Coaster 2 will be. So the footage you are going to see is just that. It is a very early version of Planet Coaster 2. I'm not quite sure what, if anything, will change, but do keep that in mind if you see some things that don't look exactly right. It could just be the early version of the game that I was playing. Now, during this event, I was actually in the middle of a week-long vacation, so I was playing through a remote connection on my old gaming laptop connected to the hotel Wi-Fi in my room from Hawaii. So needless to say, it wasn't the best gaming experience for me, but none of that had to do with the game itself or the event that was set up. It was all just my circumstance. I also, unfortunately, towards the end of my vacation, came down with a bit of a head cold that I'm still recovering from. So if I sound a bit raspy or stuffy, or tired, it's because I am. I just got home yesterday and I am putting this video together as soon as humanly possible for you all, because on vacation I didn't have any of my recording or editing stuff, so that's why this video is coming a bit late. In the video, I'll go over the two different modes that I was able to play. That includes career mode and sandbox, and just go through any of my thoughts or feelings and just kind of show you what I was able to experience. The first part of the event was a little peek at career mode. Now, I'll be honest with you, my main goal here was to get through it as quickly as possible because I knew that once I was done with career mode, I was going to be moved over to sandbox mode, which, as we all know, is my personal bread and butter. It's what I'm here for. We love to make pretty things. So I was really eager and very excited to get let loose and just be able to explore everything that I wanted to at the pace that I wanted to. So after plopping down a few pre-built blueprints, I quickly met all the requirements to get that bronze medal and was moved over to sandbox mode. Really, the only thing that gave me difficulty here in this career mode was actually figuring out how the power works. So much so, in fact, that the devs actually had to step in and walk me through it at one point because I was never going to be able to figure it out on my own. Essentially, the way the mechanics for power work in Planet Coaster 2 are a bit different than Planet Coaster or even Planet Zoo, where you need both a generator and a distributor connected by underground wiring to spread power throughout your park. In the future, I hope to do a more in-depth video on this, but for now, I'm just going to move on over to sandbox mode and talk to you about what I am most excited about for the game. Overall, once I was in sandbox mode, I had a little over an hour to build and explore, and the very first thing that I did was start putting down pieces and playing around with the building. My original thought was to basically take a look at every single piece, and I started to lay out a lot of these like aquatic doors and just explore everything at a very slow pace when I realized that I had a timer ticking down and I was never ever going to be able to take a close look at every single piece provided in the game. So because I was in Hawaii and I just visited the Polynesian Cultural Center the day before, Polynesian architecture was fresh in my mind. So I pulled up a photo on my phone of one of the buildings that I had seen and started work replicating it. Building, as you can imagine, was pretty slow going, and even though I knew I had a time limit on me, I still spent a lot of time looking through all the menus and looking at different pieces and really trying to explore as much as I could. In that exploring, though, I did find a lot of pieces that were familiar to me because a lot of them seemed to be direct ports from Planet Zoo. Now, I'm not complaining here. A lot of the pieces that I saw are actually my personal favorite pieces to build with, And I am excited to have those as kind of staples in the base game, and it makes me feel like I'm not going to be so lost with all brand new pieces to build with when the game finally does come out. Now, all the pieces, of course, were scalable, and many of them were recolorable, which has me very excited that just from the get-go, many of these pieces are going to be recolorable, and the customization options are going to be basically limitless with both scaling and recolorable flexi-colored pieces. I was also excited to see that each of the gridded wall sets also included non-gridded wall or floor pieces, just like we have in Planet Zoo. However, the one thing that did disappoint me about these is that those non-gridded pieces were incredibly thick. They were basically just as thick as their gridded counterparts. Now, if you've played Planet Zoo, you might know that we also have these non-gridded wall pieces, but they're actually maybe about half the thickness of their matching gridded set pieces. So I was a little disappointed to see that this hadn't been carried over to Planet Coaster 2, and I hope it's something that the devs will consider adjusting before the game is actually released. Yes, of course, these are scalable, and so if you were to scale these pieces down, they did get a bit thinner. However, then you're just duplicating more and more pieces, increasing your piece count, and for somebody that enjoys building as much as I do, in the amount of detail that I enjoy building in, I really don't want to increase my piece count exponentially right from the get-go, just making a thin wall for my buildings. So again, hopefully it's something that they will be able to adjust or are willing to adjust before the game comes out. Another thing I wanted to touch on very quickly, because as with most things in my playtest, I really didn't get a lot of time to sit and explore them thoroughly, but the pathing, as you can see on the right hand side, there are a lot of pathing options, and I was actually surprised to find out that you can actually move the path with your advanced move tool, as you could see that I just did there with this big square. They were not lying when they said that new pathing will make it easier to create big open plazas and custom shapes. Again, I really didn't go into a lot of it, but it looks like you can place down pathing just like you can place down pools with a custom shape drawing tool. So I'm really excited about the updates to pathing. If you played Planet Coaster or even Planet Zoo, you're probably not too unfamiliar with all of the aspects of pathing that maybe aren't so great. So improvements are very much appreciated and needed. So I'm excited to get to explore that a little bit more. After spending probably way too long building something that I was never going to finish in my allotted time, I decided it would probably be a good idea to check out some of the rides, namely the new water rides, the flume rides. So I quickly laid out a very beautiful and detailed rectangular pool and plopped down all of the water slide blueprints that were available to me. I did spend some time viewing all of the POVs from each of these slides. However, I think they might still need some polishing, as many of them, if not all of them, were very choppy and not super smooth. It seemed to me that maybe, again, they aren't finished, they aren't quite the full version of what they will be when the game releases, and I'll probably end up putting these together in their own video or short of some kind just to showcase them. I did discover that there were some decor items that specifically did go with the pools, like floaties and little rafts. They do seem to float on top of the pool water. They don't really have an animation to them when they're placed in the pool, and I didn't see any of the guests interacting with the ones that I specifically placed down. But the guests actually can go to a new merchandise shop and buy things like pool toys and floaties and such. So I imagine that they don't interact with the decor pieces, just the ones that they buy from the shops. You can also see here that I found a little wave machine, and I'm testing out that if you put multiple of them side by side, if it makes the waves bigger, and it actually does. I thought that that was a cool little piece that we'll get to play around with. Another thing that I was eager to check out that was showcased in a previous event that I was a part of was the colorization and customization options for the rides. So with each ride, you're going to have the ability not only to recolor a lot of the supports and the chairs and just overall elements of the rides themselves, but also patterns on certain sections of the rides and supports. So as you can see here, I placed down this flat ride and I'm able to change both patterns and colors of a lot of the different sections of this ride. Incredibly exciting, as you can really then tailor these customizations to your theme in your specific park. Now, one thing that I didn't test, because to be honest, I completely forgot about it, was the fact that you can take scenery pieces and attach it to rides and they will animate with those rides. That was something that was showcased to us in a previous event as well. But I honestly was running out of time and I wanted to take one last look at all of the pieces and all of the rides, just so that I could have that in video format to share, take screenshots of, and things like that. But that was basically my time in the game. I don't feel like I really got to see everything that I wanted to see, but that was to be expected with only having about an hour in the game or so. But it still was worth it, and I am so excited and cannot wait. November 6th is really not all that far away for us to wait and have the ability to actually get hands-on and play the game ourselves. So I hope you're as excited as I am to actually get to play. Again, if you're excited about the game, if you're excited about me playing and the content that I'm going to create, please go ahead and leave a like down below and a comment. It really does help me out, especially since Planet Coaster and Planet Coaster 2 are going to be new games to my channel. I really do appreciate all of the support. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and go rest my voice as well as just myself in general. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!